welcome to another episode of the Veiled Cottage Witch, and as you can see, I am not by myself. This is my very good friend, soul sister, and student for life, Wednesday. Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
We thought that I would do an interview just to kind of get my feet wet on the whole interview process. So thank you for being yet another guinea pig for me. So
Thank you.
what we're going to do first is we're going to draw a card for the interview. And not for me, not for Wednesday, but for the interview itself. And I have my everyday witch deck here. All right. You want to choose?
Yeah.
Okay. Choose which one.
Okay.
All right. Okay. And again.
Okay.
All right. My slow process of divination here. Choose the card.
Okay. I'll say this one right here.
Ah, the 10 of Swords. So even though we may feel that this is the absolute worst it could get, there's a new day tomorrow with new promise. And, you know, she's going to pick up her broomstick and get back up in the sky. Don't you love that?
I do love that.
Yes.
Those cards are so
Awesome. So we'll put that over here for our reading. None of the cards really scare me anymore. I'm really not like, oh my God, it's the 10 of Swords. I'm like, it's just a bad day.
I don't know. I still do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're a teenager. You're supposed to have drama. It's like
fair.
built in to your hormones. So, shall we get to asking the questions? Yeah? Maybe? 3, 2, 1, let's
3, 2,
go.
1.
So, what drew you to magic and witchcraft to begin with?
So I was in a really bad place in my life, and I was just kind of looking for like anything that could help, and I really liked that witchcraft kind of gave you control, and it's very like self-oriented. You're always working on yourself, and so I definitely
Yes.
liked that.
You're so right, because you can go, to magic and witchcraft for what's going on right now with you, and you can be proactive, see the problem, and actually address it. I love that. Great answer. We're on off to a great start. So we all learn certain things when we begin, and they're like, this is the law. Do you have any experiences of one of the first things that you learned that has stuck with you, or like, this works for me?
Definitely to take things slow. I feel like that was the first thing I always learned from you, and I didn't do it, and I definitely learned from not doing that, and now I try to only do like 1 or 2 things a day, small things, and just really focus on it.
Yeah, it's easy to once you learn all the things, you want to do all the things.
Yeah.
And we can really back ourselves into a corner where we lean on magic for everything, and we don't do the mundane work. And then it's like we get stuck in thinking magically for everything when there's probably mundane things we could do. Plus, you can get on the road to magical burnout, which can have you just like, I don't care about tarot, witchcraft, or magic, or anything. Screw it, I'm done.
I feel like it's so much easier to be excited to do those things in the future than to try to do them all at once and then not want to
Absolutely.
anymore.
I taught her so well. I'm so proud. Perfect answer. So yes, slow down. You don't have to know everything all at once. You can, I think the way that we went about it is I taught you the slow way to learn things. Like we went through Wicca 101 and then we went through Tarot 101.
Beginning.
Yeah. So we're like, we start slow and that way we want to keep that tempo. Awesome. So what did you like about tarot? What drew you to want to learn about tarot other than when I just said we're going to learn tarot?
Well, I think for one, I always saw it in movies, and I thought it was really cool.
I want that shock factor.
Yeah. And then when I actually started learning about it, again, just what drew me to magic, I liked that it really got to the base of the problem, because I'm also really interested in psychology. So I always look for what is causing the issue. And I feel like when you get good at reading tarot, it helps you figure out exactly what you need to do to fix your problems.
Yes, that has a lot to do with root work. We don't want a Band-Aid. We want to actually cure it.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to just cover it up with magic.
Temporarily fix it a little bit. I want it to be done with.
Yes, good and done, and on to the next problem,
Yeah.
right?
On to the next one.
Go on to the next one. I love that. Now for a shameless plug. What is it like to have a mentor? What's it like to have somebody guiding you?
I feel like I got really lucky because I heard about people's mentors, and a lot of them are not very good, but I got lucky because personally, I feel like I could literally text Joey at 2 in the morning and just be like, how do I do this candle magic? Because I can't figure it out. My whole room's on fire. And can you just help me?
That would be like, dial 911.
Yeah. First, stop pouring oil on it. Oh. I just feel like it's great to have someone ask all the questions who's had years of knowledge before you and knows a solid answer to give you.
Good. I like that because I don't ever want to be one of those overbearing, tell you what to do all the time and you never have creative outlet.
Yeah.
So I try to let you do your own, let you screw up on your own. And then
she advises against it, but if it happens.
Yeah, sure. Go fuck around and find out. Yep. See what happens. I love that. Along those same lines, what do you think is a valuable thing that you learned as an apprentice, as somebody who helped me co-teach a lot of Tarot 101 classes, a lot of individualized tarot classes and everything? What do you think you took from that?
Honestly, I would just say to take it slow again, because I feel like each subject of each little part of witchcraft has so much to learn, and if you're trying to learn your whole tarot deck in 5 days, it's not gonna work. I took 2 months of tarot classes teaching it and I still didn't know, and I'm still learning every time I pick up my tarot deck, and I feel like you will forever, so it's just kind of important to remember as much time as you have, that's how long you have to learn.
Yeah.
And so there's no reason to rush it.
Absolutely. And if I've read books in 2 days and then I'm like, what the hell did I just read? Because I shoved it in my brain so quickly.
You're so interested, but you really do only take in so much knowledge at a time. You need time to kind of think about what you just learned.
That's a lot of how the brain works that I learned in a college level psychology class. So I feel like that's why we get along so well. We've got that psychology in our brains that is so linked to witchcraft and magic and tarot in specifically, with all the archetypal work and everything that's done in there. So
because once you learn it, you can't go back. You always just kind of have that mindset. So
yes, once you see that 5 of Cups, once you know that one of those cups is poison, you'll be like, it's a good thing forever. Yes, and you can't unsee it. No matter how much you try, you can't unsee it. And what's so great about that, what kind of bookend off of what you said, with tarot, I am learning every day, and I'll have students be like, oh, what does this mean? And I'd be like, I've never seen that
Like,
before in my life. And even though I've studied the deck for 30 years, I still have people, hey,
let's look it up in a book.
Yeah, like
know.
there's, and I've read tons and tons, and like I said, you retain only so much, and then after that, it's overflow, and that's when you need to take a break.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. So, what does being a witch mean to you? What does that entail?
I think there are a lot of meanings to being a witch. I feel like everyone's gonna kind of have their own opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Sure.
personally, I feel like it just means being able to use everything in your power to work on what you need. So instead of just doing like all the mundane things to get a job, maybe you're doing some extra magic stuff. And then I would definitely say that you're a witch.
Just a little bit extra
Yeah.
something.
Because I don't really think being a witch means like you're Wiccan or pagan or any specific title. I just think that implies you practice witchcraft.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. And some people don't even call it witchcraft. They call it folk magic,
Right.
which is very, it's tomatoes. It's
Right.
very all close
And yeah.
related. They're all sisters of the same thing, and it's just, people will put candles on their birthday cake and blow it out, but they don't practice candle magic.
Right. That's just how that's their tradition. They don't have the symbolic meaning.
But that's that little extra something
Right.
that witches have.
That little extra intent, because that's all it really is.
Exactly. So what would you, this is kind of going to be reiterating, I think, a little bit, but what would you tell somebody looking to get into witchcraft? If someone came up to you, it's like, hey, I heard you do witchcraft. Where should I start? How would you go about telling them?
Depending on the person, I feel like if it was someone who liked a lot of different things and going back and forth between interests, I would say just kind of look into the general basics of everything and see if you like it. Or if it was someone who is very like detail oriented, I would tell them to find a subject of witchcraft they're interested in and just slowly learn about that.
You're so right, because everybody learns differently.
Right.
Some people are like information hoarders.
Yeah.
I'm an information hoarder. I have books upon books upon books that I haven't read yet, but they're information and I might need them.
We might need them
So
someday,
I hoard
might as well
them.
keep it.
But yeah, there's no use reading about runes and studying runes if you're not going to use them.
Exactly.
There's no reason learning about tarot if it freaks you out, or it's like, don't play with a Ouija board if you're freaked out by it.
Exactly.
It's yeah, but
Play with fire.
yes, you're gonna get burned. Awesome. I know a lot of people just don't know where to start. I like that you consider the student, because not everybody learns
Yeah.
at the same rate.
Especially when it comes to magic specifically, because I feel like everyone's path is going to be just a little bit different. Like, two people could practice the same traditional magic completely different. And it doesn't mean like either one's wrong. They
Right.
just learn different and accept different meanings.
Different cultures for different people, and absolutely, that's absolutely true for me. I don't use white sage in my practices, because for me, because my grandfather was part Cherokee, I feel like I'm taking something from his sacred spirituality. So I try to just work with what I know, and branch it out. And so I think that is important to keep that in mind too. Yeah.
Just like whereas I learned from her, but I use white sage all the time because I feel like it's something that grows, so I feel like using it first of all honors the plant, but also because when I use it, I intentionally respect the culture behind using it, so I try to make it more like like an offering.
Yeah,
for
okay.
this.
Yeah, I like that.
If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, what works for me is going to be different than what works for you and what works for the audience. Don't ever base your practice around somebody else's practice, because I have conviction about that, but you might have conviction about something else. Like maybe you have conviction about you don't like to go counterclockwise because it feels weird for you in your
Right.
circle. So like we give and take, and we take what we need and we give the rest back. Love that. We're gonna both answer this question because I feel like we're gonna have very similar answers maybe, but go-to spell, what do you think? What's your go-to?
Absolutely New Beginnings.
Yes!
I feel like at the end of the day, if I get home and I'm just feeling like, ugh, like I need some kind of magic because I just don't feel it right now, it's always like just refreshing, New Beginnings.
Well, with working 2 jobs and going to school and you're a straight A student, that's a lot of pressure. And to still have time for your practice, it's amazing. It's amazing to get to watch. Yeah, I love that. It's just a little rejuvenation right before. To me, my go-to spell is protection. I think you can't ever have too much protection. And so I have wards in all 4 corners of the cottage. I have witch bottles buried. I mean, I don't think it ever ends. I think I make a lot of protection powders and everything, because sometimes I will be doing spell work for others. And when I start doing spells outside of myself, outside of what I'm doing, and I get a little bit more expansive and I start sending energy, need a little bit more of that protection. Definitely, it probably has a lot to do with the fact that I'm a grandma now, and I want my family very protected. I want my friends, my students protected. I'm always sending out protection. So if you ever feel like, what was that? It was me sending some protection. Don't worry about it.
Right.
But I think that's great. Do you usually do that like every day? Is that an everyday thing for you, or is that more like just like a new moon thing, or?
I tend to not do spells every day, just because when I do them, I put a lot of intention and it's really tiring.
Oh my gosh.
So normally I'll only do that, I would say probably like once every other week, but I will base it like off of when I think I need it.
I love that.
Yeah. I don't really have like a set schedule.
Good, because if we're just doing things rotely and going through the motions, we're not putting that energy into it. I love that. Great answer. Awesome. All right. What about big mistakes that you've learned from?
Exactly what she was just talking about. Not doing enough protection spells. So
I love that. So I'll just give it to you. I
actually used magic to get out of my really bad depressive stage, and then I stopped doing protection spells, and I was just kind of like doing other stuff. I was still mindful about it, but I didn't put as much intention, and I definitely noticed it because I went right back into the same depressive stage, and it took me like even longer, and it was even harder to get out of it. And it was just like the 5 of Cups, like you're wearing a big black cape and you just can't shake it. And I know it's because I just spent so long like collecting all the negative energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if you're a people worker or a people person and you're like around all these different energies all day. It's so important.
Girl, yeah.
All my Strega people.
Yeah. And for me, I absolutely have to have it. I absolutely have to have it because I go to the shop and I read for other people. And if I were to take on their problems, and then I'd just be, like you said, that heavy weight would just be, weighing on me, and I wouldn't be able to shake it, to get rid of it. And that's where protection kind of keeps your energy in and others out.
Especially being so empathetic, and being a witch, you're already pretty open and in tune with all the energies around you, so it's definitely important.
It's hard not to curse people. It is physically hard not to, when they're being an idiot. They're being an idiot, or they're being rude, maybe to your friends. And, that's when protection magic can really be the good kind of cloak that you put on, not the one that weighs you down.
That's like the light work curse.
Yes.
It's protection magic.
Yes, that white light of protection, gotta have it. I've done a little bit in my practice of not working with protective circles. I'm like, when it's just me, I might be a little laxed on it, but if I have people coming over and I'm hosting a Sabbath,
every time,
all out.
Every time, you know, giant circle.
Yeah, I just, it can't hurt.
It's so necessary. No, like your best witch friend could be cursing people and you just won't know.
Right, exactly. My big mistake that I learned from is make sure that you end your spell with how you actually want your intention to go. For instance, when I got my car stolen, I did a stop in your tracks spell. And they stopped, ran off the road into a cornfield, and totaled my car. So what I should have done, stop in your tracks and bring my vehicle back in the shape that it was when you took it.
Right.
But I was angry.
But no.
I was so pissed at that point. I was just like, get him, get him, get him. So.
Remember that.
And don't practice magic when you're angry. You're likely not to finish your sentence.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. I didn't. Hindsight, man, is 2020 all the time. Always 2020. All right. Favorite tarot card?
Such a hard question. I think I'm gonna have to say the Five of Cups.
The Five of Cups.
Because I refer to it so much. Because the Five of Cups definitely, I feel like, can apply to any day that you're having that's just negative, where you're looking at all the little things that aren't important.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really hard to switch that mentality sometimes. But when you look at the Five of Cups, it's like all you really gotta do is just turn it upside down. Just drop the freaking black cloak. It's fine. Stop drinking the poison. Okay.
Exactly. Okay. Put on your big girl panties. Yeah. Cross the bridge and go to your castle. Yes. Yes, I love that. What about your least favorite tarot card?
It's so hard. I think probably the Queen of Cups.
The Queen of Cups? Yeah. Really?
Because every time I pull the Queen of Cups, it's always shadow work for me. I know it's because emotionally I'm just like crazy and I need to figure it out. So every time I pull it, it's like, here we go
she's
again.
Slumped with all that emotion. It's kind of the same as the Five of Cups. Yeah. She's letting everything weigh her down. And she just needs to kind of, a little bit of self-care.
Yeah.
A little bit of, like you said, shadow work, just to dump those emotions. My favorite tarot card is probably the Tower. I know, but it's a horrible card, right? But really, is it? You're breaking through. It's divine intervention. Sometimes it looks like a breakdown, but it's really a breakthrough. It's like that ego mind needs to be shattered in order for you to wake up and fix things. And my least favorite card is the Two of Swords. It's so redundant.
She always says that, and it's just this chick chilling with her swords, like she didn't do anything to Joey, and she's over here like, stick to her swords.
I have to make a decision between two things. That is why you drew the tarot to begin with. It's just like I roll my eyes, physically roll my eyes when I get it.
Oh
With paying customers, I'm like, oh God, this card again. Just because it's just so like, yeah, obviously I don't know what to do. That's why I'm paying you. So yeah, it's so unnecessary. I wish I could take them out of every single one of my decks. And just have a Two of Swords burning party.
Oh no, I just feel like it's helpful sometimes.
Really? What do you get from the Two of Swords? What helpful
me,
stuff?
It's always, since I have split parents, it's always telling me that I need to make a choice. Or that I feel like I need to make a choice between the two parents. And most of the time I don't.
Oh.
And so it's always a balancing thing for me. It's telling me like you feel like you need to be balanced, but in reality like you are allowed to have more, like it's okay.
I might have to change my mind about that card. I really like that. Because you're just playing to make sure everybody's happy.
Yeah. It's like you're choosing two
that.
things that are gonna hurt you, and in reality, like, you need to just choose yourself. Like, you can kind of have both.
So proud. So proud. You might have changed my mind about the Two of Swords. Way to go. Thank you. Awesome. My mind's blown. I don't know what to do right now. Okay. What about Oracle decks? Do you work with Oracle decks? Do you have a favorite one you would recommend?
I love all my Oracle decks.
What do you like about them, and like kind of why sometimes you choose an Oracle over the tarot?
So for me, I feel like tarot is very personal, but Oracle at the same time can be very personal in like a different way. And so if you don't work with both, you won't understand what I mean. But everyone who does, you get it.
It's like tarot slaps you on the face.
Tarot's
but
like
Oracle's
very
like,
realistic, and
it's
Oracle's
okay.
like, this is what you need to do. You got this. Fine.
Yeah.
Tarot's just like,
sorry about your life. Oracle's
sorry
like,
your life sucks. It's not my bad. Thanks, Tarot.
It's so true. That's so true. Because I know when somebody's coming and to get a reading, I will automatically be like, she needs an Oracle deck.
Yeah.
She does
like,
not
you don't need tarot. You need some love and some emotional support.
Right. And it can be so brutal. Tarot is blunt. It is straightforward. And some people need a little coaxing to kind of get that out.
Definitely.
Do you have a favorite Oracle deck?
I think my favorite, I would have to say, is Whispers of Healing.
Oh,
and
okay.
It's only because that was the first one that I ever got. And it was like my favorite when I first got it. The art in it is so beautiful, but then the meanings, just, they hit different. Honestly, I've never had an Oracle deck that's just so on point with every meaning.
Nice. I think I have one of my new favorite oracles is the Deep, Dark, and Dangerous by Stacey DeMarco. Fierce and creepy.
Intense. Yeah.
And like
shadow work?
Yes, very much. But I think I gravitate toward the oracles that bite a little bit.
Yeah, like the
because I'm so used to tarot.
It's like I gave like a little kick in the butt every here and there.
Right, and so I gravitate toward oracles that will kick my ass. Why do I crave violence? I guess sometimes us thick-headed people need to be hit over the head, I think.
I guess. Just a couple like...
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. So I'll sometimes do a tarot, and then I'll pick an oracle card from the Deep, Dark, and Dangerous, and I'm just like, why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah. It's like, why do
so
I have
hard.
to do it twice?
Right. Awesome. I love that. We're so different yet so alike. I love it. I love it. So do you want to like kind of do a brief, not a whole dissertation or anything, but do you want to talk a little bit about the evolution of your practice from like you maybe 2 years ago to today right now?
So I think when I started learning magic, I was in a really bad place. I was pretty depressed and I didn't really have a lot of self-confidence. I didn't really talk to anyone. I'm just like very antisocial. And as I started practicing, before I went into my second depression from working too much, I feel like I definitely built my confidence up a lot more. I do things that I would normally never would have done, like this interview and
Yay!
my job. I literally talk to people for a living and I would never have done that before, but just knowing that you're gonna go home and still have the opportunity to build yourself up and be better is so comforting. So
I love that, because that is the whole reason I got into teaching and educating people about witchcraft and tarot, is because I wanted them to feel empowered. I don't want you to be a victim. I don't want you to just say, this is your life, it sucks, that's it, you can't do anything about it. I want to install, practices that can help tackle these problems instead of being defeated by them. And when I saw you your first night, I was so impressed. I'm like, she's gonna work with people? And I'm like, really? And when I saw you out there, you were just smiling and you were in your element, but you were also out of your element, but you were going with it, and I loved it. I enjoyed seeing that. I was like, yeah, she's got it.
It's just like it lights your little internal fire, you know?
For sure. For sure. Absolutely. Last question. All right. How do you feel about baneful magic? And I want to clarify, with baneful magic, what I consider baneful magic is kind of doing witchcraft because you can, and hurting, manipulating people on purpose. So I think that's I don't consider defensive or protection magic at all to be baneful, but how do you feel about it?
So I feel like if you're doing magic just to hurt other people, then that's kind of your bad. Like, sounds like your life sucks and it's definitely gonna bite you back. I could just stop practicing magic and it would bite me back for it, so I don't even have to do anything harmful and it's still just... But
life's hard enough, right?
Yeah, like, why are you gonna put all that extra pressure on yourself and other people? Because in the end, when you're doing things intentionally to hurt others too, that is gonna mentally affect you, and even if you don't want to feel bad for it, it's still like, oh, I ruined that family's life the other day. Like, dang, that's kind of hard to live with. So I feel like you shouldn't practice anything that you aren't willing to live with or you aren't willing to have done back to you.
I love that. I love that. Wow, you really prepared for this interview. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Any kind of last shout out, last messages or anything that you would want my followers to know? Words of encouragement, maybe?
I mean, words of encouragement, I feel like if you're thinking about practicing magic or you do, just remember there's always time to learn new stuff, and sometimes that's all you need is to learn something new, so don't forget that. And for your followers, come to the cottage.
Oh, yes! Come to the cottage.
It's pretty cool in here. Come see her new lamp and her microphone.
I bought that microphone specifically to interview you.
I know. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very, very special. Well,
So
thank you
sweet.
guys. Go ahead. Good. No.
You're so sweet. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank you guys for sitting in and listening to us talk about witchcraft and tarot. And if you're interested in knowing more about my mentorship programs or any of my classes, feel free to leave that comment down below. Hit like, hit subscribe, share with your friends, and we will see you next time. Blessed be.